Hey everybody, it's me, Remy, and I'm here today to welcome you to Enter the Poserverse. It's Tuesday, so you know what that means. It's time to figure out what exactly I'm reading this week, and how much money I'm just going to set on fire, because it's New Comic Book Day. So to find out exactly which books make the list, you'll have to check it out after this. Alright, I know that my typical Monday video still hasn't uploaded yet because my internet is operating at a snail's pace, so who knows if and when you'll ever see this video, because the gods of the internet hate me. But I've got a pretty good week of books ahead of me. There are a couple of things that I might take off of the list, and we'll kind of talk about them as we get there. So, first book of the week is American Ronin number 3 from AWA. I've talked about how I kind of like this book quite a bit because it's, you know, a weird assassin, a weird authoritarian. There's like some weird, like light cyberpunk kind of elements going on in terms of maybe some enhancements that are happening in here. But I like this book. I think, and that's where there are a lot of people on American Ronin like, this book is pretty good. It might not be the most mind-blowingly outstanding AWA book, but it's a pretty solid book that is always in the middle of my pile each week. Next up is Batman 105. You can read that today. I'm going to read it tomorrow and stay off of Twitter because Twitter is the devil when it comes to spoiling Batman shit. But I really, really like this Ghostmaker arc, right? Batman 104 2 weeks ago was my second highest pick of the week, and I think it's good, and apparently this is the end of the Ghost Stories arc, so I want to know what happens, right? That the only frustrating thing is if this is part 4 of 4 for me, that this will be the second time that Tonic has kind of built up a cool big villain and then got rid of it relatively quickly, right? We saw that with the Designer in the first, legs of his Batman arc. So, what's going to happen? Is something going to empower the Clown Hunter to become the big bad? Like, is Ghostmaker going to get defeated and just kind of go to the shadows? Like, I don't know. It says the outcome is not what you're expecting, so part of me really thinks it's going to be the Clown Hunter. If Bruce Wayne dies, then that would be also kind of dope. But then, how would you read Batman without Batman? It might make some sense in a world of, like, the Future State hiatus coming up in January, that maybe they would murder off Batman, I don't know. But next up from Image is Big Girls number 5. I've been a big fan of this book every week that it's come out. That we're starting to see the all-out war coming between Gulliver and Ember in terms of what do we do in terms of, like, dealing with the mutated entities. Or is there a degree of humanity to them? Are they unfairly being trained to, like, go crush civilization? But I want more of it. I think that this has been an outstanding title from Jason Howard, who is, I think, driving the bus on all creative elements of it, and I think this is another singular creator title that is a home run. Book 3 from Commanders in Crisis also comes out this week. I've liked the first 2 issues. I really think it was interesting in terms of the mission of Book 2 was to deal with the literal death of empathy in its human form. I like seeing how this team of presidents, thus the commanders, came together in Book 2, and for as much as this is a bat-ass crazy wild ride, Steve Orlando's doing a hell of a job keeping it all together. I don't know where we're at, how many thousands of books are left from Dark Knight's Death Metal. I'm still pulling it. At this point, I should have just bought the damn trades, but I'm pot committed now. Next up is our first Marvel book of the week. It's Deadpool number 9. Kelly Thompson has done a fantastic job on this run. Or in the previous book, we saw a lot of, what happens in terms of Deadpool's quest to get the Bloodstone to be able to save Elsa if he gets it. Are there any repercussions on him? Was he part of a bigger ruse? All of these are, good questions to answer, and it takes a little bit of a serious turn on some of these things, but it's still written in a very tongue-in-cheek Deadpool kind of way, which to me really speaks to the credit of Thompson as a writer, and the art has just been fantastic on this, that it's been quite trippy for a Deadpool book. Next up from DC is Green Lantern Season 2, book number 10. Morrison is wild in this book, and I feel like that's become my description of it all the time, because I don't know what is real anymore. I don't know what the through plot thread is, and it's fairly interesting. I know last Thursday when Lost in Comics was having their award nomination show that the chat was giving my boys over at the Comic Burrito a little bit of shit for nominating Green Lantern in part of their series of the year nominations, or like the ongoing. It's been really, really interesting. The art has been fantastic. It's been just crazy to look at how the narrative and the style shifts from book to book to book. I don't know if I'm supposed to be getting it at this point, if I'm still should be confused. Like, I think once Christmas break starts and I don't have to teach anymore, then I'm very clearly going to sit down and reread all of the Green Lantern books that have come out this year, because I think I need. Next up from Marvel is Iron Man number 4. This has just been an interesting book. You have Cantwell and his creative team putting together a dive into Iron Man that I don't think we've seen before. Looking at Korvac, who I think we got a glimpse of in book 3, is fairly interesting. This is the first time I've really read anything that has Hellcat as a character in it, so I'm just getting a lot of new things that are kind of pleasant, and I think it's Keifu that's on the art. Cool. It's real good. This pulled a full Doctor Doom on me that I'm invested in this series until it's done. Justice League 58. I didn't like the Endless Winter book. I'm only buying this so I can have 58 and then 59 hopefully when Endless Winter is all done. If you liked Endless Winter, please let me know and give me some redeeming qualities to it, because I read the first one was like, and then I read Flash and I was like, damn, this is, I ain't read the Superman one. I don't know. I didn't like it. I'm sorry. Normally I don't talk shit on a book that's on my pull list, but this Endless Winter event has been a miss. Next up, my continuation of buying everything that has King in Black in the title is here. You've got King in Black Immortal Hulk number 1 from all of the information in the back of the books. This was supposed to come out last week, got pushed to this week, and I don't know if it's created further delays. That technically I think this was supposed to be read before the Namor tie-in book, but we'll see. I've liked the King in Black stuff so far. I thought Venom, 32, did a good job of keeping the event alive. I think all of the little tie-ins that have come out so far in terms of Symbiote, Spider-Man, Alien Reality, and Namor have been quite interesting. And then I'm intrigued to see what titles like The Union take this event in the direction of, since it is also a tie-in, but it's a series that's starting beyond the event. Next up from Miskatonic, or from Aftershock, is Miskatonic number 2. Book 1 was crazy. Like I've said, like Lovecraft / Cthulhu plus like crime drama plus film noir is really, really interesting. That this book, it might be one of the like nuttiest book 1s that I've read in a while, excluding like Terminal Punks, which that shit was just crazy. But I like seeing this take place in the 60s. I like this being an FBI agent who's kind of fighting for her identity because she's a woman, and Hoover wanted her out of there until she saw like the cryptic symbols. The events of book 1 were not ending well for our investigative team, and I want to see how it shores itself up. Next up from Marvel is New Mutants number 14. I am behind on my X-Men by, I think, one issue from the previous week and then both from last week. So I don't know what the Ten of Swords did in the end of the universe. So I'm going to get caught up fast because, like I said, X-Men became iffy for me after the end of the Ten of Swords, where I was just like, I don't think it landed 100% for me. So I want to see if all of the titles are still essential to read, or if now I can start maybe culling the herd a little bit. Next up from Boom Studios is hands down one of my favorite books of the year, that when I create my list of picks, and I still don't know how I'm going to do it yet, and I only got, what, 15, 16 days because 2020 is almost over, thank God. But Once and Future is going to be on that list. I've not just loved the creation of the characters in Gran and Duncan and Rose, or the reinterpretation of things like Beowulf or the Arthurian legend, but I just like this creative play with literature. I think Kieran Gillen has been really, really good on this book. I think Dan Mora's art has been fantastic, and I cannot remember the colorist off the top of my head. Tamara Bonvillain. They have been mind-blowing on this title. So I want to see how this world continues to evolve, because it literally feels like literary whack-a-mole, and I'm there for it. Also coming from Boom Studios is Power Rangers number 2. I really, really like Power Rangers number 1. I think Mighty Morphin number 2, which came out last week, did an interesting job connecting the two series, but I really want to see the repercussions of the actions of the Omega Rangers fleshed out a little bit more in Power Rangers number 2, because Zordon is still pissed. Excited. Next up from Vault Comics, hell yes, Resonant number 6 is back. I really, really loved the first arc. I would not have stumbled upon it if it weren't for Bruce and Stephanie, who might be the world's biggest Resonant fans. So I got, they sent me a t-shirt, I picked up the trade, and then 2 weeks later, I won a set of Resonant 1 through 5 first printings with the number 1 signed by David Andre. I want to see what happens with the Chirpers. I want to see what happens with the family and the people who are kind of spread out in the different islands. It's a really, really cool concept of a book. So I'm game on. Next up from Scout Comics, we've got Shit Show number 1. I think this was on my list of coming out maybe 2 weeks ago and got moved. I know that a book here or there from Scout has been getting pushed around. So I'm excited to finally read it. And again, you can go back 2 weeks ago when I first talked about this and linked Comic Burrito and their interview to the creator on there. Next, Star Bastard Loggerhead number 1. I think this is by Brian Silverback, who everybody tells me is one of the most interesting characters in the comic book game, and I want to check him out. But the 2 Loggerhead books that I've read from Scout have been very, very interesting. So now if we get Space plus Loggerhead, yeah, I'm real excited for it, and I'm pretty sure I put this one on my pull list before final order cutoff. So I'm really, really hoping it's in here, because I don't want to wait for the Scout box for it to show up. Next up from Mad Cave is Stargazer number 4. Anthony Cleveland and his team have been fantastic on this one. So we're getting ready to see shit hit the fan between civilization and the aliens. So I want to see what happens if our team of telepathically, telekinetically, something connected friends can stop it. Next up is Stillwater number 4. I really liked the introduction of Death Day in terms of the celebration of the death, to have a paper trail so Stillwater doesn't seem like this anomaly if it ever is discovered. But we learned that that creepy administrator lady might be more powerful than the judge, We've learned that our main character is taking a lot of notes and keeping a journal about Stillwater, which is a big no-no. So I'm excited to check this out, and I'm glad to know that Chip Zdarsky is still writing books, because according to Donny Cates in the universe of Crossover, he's missing and still hasn't been. Another King in Black tie-in, Symbiote Spider-Man Alien Reality, King in Black #2. So we're seeing everybody come to a head. We're seeing more team building. We're seeing more people kind of continue the assault against Null, where we get the Null is coming vibe from issue 1, because we get like the suit was not like spider senses tingling in a bad way, but doing something to make Spider-Man compelled to find Null. So I'm intrigued to see if we've got a battle throwdown. Next up, I think this is the third Tales of the Dark Multiverse book that I've pulled from this year. I got Flashpoint last week, still haven't read it. I'm pulling Crisis on Infinite Earths this week, because it's one of the events that I finally have kind of read and got into. So I'm excited to kind of look at what happens in this what if multiverse tale happens? I don't know. Next up from Marvel is Taskmaster #2. I love #1. I rated it on my weekly list, and Chaos and Comics yelled at me because it placed higher than some of the X-Men books that came out that week, which were also good. But I want to see Taskmaster get ready to start mirroring everybody so he can get into the new database to figure out who killed Agent Maria Hill. Next from Oni Press is The Vein #3. I thought the first two issues of this were particularly good in terms of starting to get some backstory into why the blood may be stolen, getting some insight into the other major players in the book. So I want to see if we start to get a bigger element of conflict between both parties this week. Next up from Aftershock, We Live #3. That cover looks really, really, really cool, almost in the same way that the Walking Flaming Zombie of Year Zero Volume 1 #4 looked. So I thought the first two issues of We Live were pretty good in the quest to find the pods. So I want to know what the significance of this flaming zombie is. I'm intrigued. Next up from Boom Studios, we get Al Ewing and Simone DeMeo on We Only Find Them When They're Dead #4. We're gonna see blows traded between Malik and Richter. They are also fighting on the surface of a living god, so I'm gonna guess that might not be, or it might not end well for both parties. I think the story of this is intriguing, but I really picked this book up for the art. That I think Simone DeMeo is just doing things with the color palette in this book that make it feel like I'm more immersed in this experience, like it's a VR comic. That's just the beauty and the depth of the world that is being created, and it's quite easy to get lost in. And then our final book of the week, and Cole's going to make fun of me because he sees that 96-97 at the bottom of the page, but I'm trying to weed some stuff out, is X-Force 15. I'm excited that Omega Red is playing more and more of a role that I think Omega Red is one of the most compelling villains in the X-Men world, so I'm down. I want to see things come to a blow, especially if I get a big ol' Omega Red Wolverine fight. I can never get sick of that. And I said, with Juggernaut, I was like, man, if this is just going to be more Juggernaut and Hulk beating the shit out of each other, it wasn't exciting to me. I'll always watch Omega Red and Wolverine take each other on. What do you think? Is there anything that I'm not picking up you think that I should? Let me know in the comments down below. Remember, later this week, I'll go live on Thursday with God knows who or what, but I'll come up with something. I enjoyed the long interview I had with the team of Don't Ever Blink, so we'll see if we can get something thrown together by Thursday. Our unboxing videos will pop up the rest of the week. I think I've got one where Toby is intriguing that you'll see maybe on Friday. And then on Sunday at 9:30 Eastern, 8:30 Central, we will have our fourth Poser and Pals auction. We had a lot of people show up last time. It was a really good good wave of folks. We gave away a King in Black 1 in 100 as our $1 Super Chat giveaway last time. So once we figure out what we will use for our giveaway book this week, we'll announce it on Twitter and Instagram. So hopefully we see you then. You don't have to buy anything. You can just come hang out and make fun of me. I don't give a shit. But it's a good time. We'll get you some good books, some good deals. And as always, thanks for stopping by, and have a good one.